Hi friends. So I have taken up a challenge to do some recording every day. Some of this might get compiled together, deleted, whatever. The point is to just do it, prepare, get in the habit, and things like that. So I was watching here just a moment ago a podcast, and I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately, sort of music business stuff, getting things prepared. And I've talked before about some of the projects we've got going on. And in watching this podcast, I wanted to sort of get into some thoughts that I had concerning the process that we go through. So first and foremost, Vio and I are musicians. We are performers. We create music. We study music. Music was the big draw. That's what we were passionate about, what we wanted to do. It all revolved around that creative, artistic element. You know, for me, it started as a child when I was 6 and I started taking piano lessons. Then about 16, I'd done choir and everything in school, and then sort of decided that I wanted to work on singing, and so sort of swapped out. You know, my parents didn't have a lot, and they did what they could, and I had those piano lessons every Saturday morning, 11 a.m., my entire childhood. So we switched over and I did voice lessons, which progressed me down the path where I ended up going to college, originally to be a music teacher, and through some changes and different things that happened, another story for another day, I ended up going into performing, and still with the thought that I would be teaching at an academic level, university level. Got a doctorate degree in vocal performance and specialized particularly in operatic and classical art music and that style of singing. I've always been drawn to all kinds of music. Maybe the spark for singing started for me actually by hearing musicals and operettas. Pirates of Penzance was the one that I remember specifically. I was just obsessed with it, and just the acting and the staging and all of that stuff. I loved watching those kinds of performances, get the hairbrush and all that. What I'm kind of getting to though is at some point when you make a decision as a creator or an artist that you want to do this professionally, you want to get your music out there, you want people to, hear it, and enjoy it, and you want to perform, and you want to go on tour, and you want to distribute it and do all this. And that's kind of where we are right now with these podcasts, is we're listening to a lot of conversation concerning distribution. We're making a lot of business choices right now. We're setting things up, and we're preparing, taking this time to treat this essentially like our day job. And it takes up a lot of extra time. We both do work full-time, regular, mundane jobs, but ultimately the goal is this becomes the dream. This is what we want to do and focus on. Now, we were lucky in some ways because going through school, specifically focusing on music, there were coaches, whether it be our, voice teachers or our instrument, professors and things, they'll kind of guide you along, and they kind of give you a heads up. They tell you, okay, look, these are things you need to know. This is how you build your portfolio. This is how you get yourself out there. We learned how to audition, all of these things. And of course you get practice, being on stage and doing the thing that you're going to be doing. When it comes to the changes that have happened, it used to be years, and not that long ago, you had to get a record company, right? You had to make a deal with the record company, and then they did everything. They got your music out there. They got you on the radio. They did all that. They put you on tour. They gave you the money. That's where these big bands that take these big record deals, and then they have to produce the music. So, Motley Crue, stories of bands that take that money and then they're living these extravagant lives. Well, that's no longer the case. Those really don't happen like that anymore. The business has changed. So music distribution is completely different ballgame, and so independent artists have, in some cases, even more of a chance than they might have with just going through the process of getting on a label and all of that. There are some labels that still exist, of course, and those are things that we're, have looked into and talked about and things. But to get your foot in the door and to get the ball rolling, basically, you have to know some basic things about music business. This is very important so that you know what you need to do kind of to make things happen. A lot of people who love creating music and they want to be songwriters, and this is one the podcast that I was watching was really talking about. You put all of your focus on your talent, your music, just working on it, and you need to do that. But you also need to put that kind of effort into understanding how the business works. You have to understand some basic things, and so getting yourself on the internet, getting out there, Google, whatever it is you need to do to learn some basic things about copyright, things about distribution. How do you understanding the financial aspect of things, understanding how to keep track of things, because you're going to have to pay taxes once you do start making some money. There's so many elements that you need to educate yourself on, and I think we were lucky in a few things. Vio actually had, for his degree, had to take classes in music business. He had to understand copyright, he had to understand all these things. So he already had a handle on some of that. What we're doing now is going through and being very careful, literally reading the fine print. We're looking for an online distributor right now. And so this is some of the names that you might recognize in that would be DistroKid, I think Ditto, TuneCore, and some of these other ones. And we're looking at various ones, the pros, the cons, feedback. Always read the reviews for everything, whether it's a restaurant that you're going to or something very serious like this before you make a decision. We're looking at whether we want to go with BMI or ASCAP, and that decision has actually been a little bit more complicated for us because of the type of music that we do. We had to ensure that because we are using classical music, which is not in public domain, so we wanted to make sure that anything we did or arranged, how are we going to copyright that? Can we copyright that? Are we going to have conflict down the road? You need to know these things because it depends on the percentage of the split for songwriting credit and other things like that. So doing our research, doing our homework, I just thought it was important to talk about for anybody out there that is interested in making music your life's dream of creating and all of that, and you want to write music, perform music, put it online. These things are important, and the sooner that you know about how this all works, you're doing yourself a favor. Don't set it to the side. Don't think that, someone else can handle that. When you're in control of your own work, it's better for you in the long run, understanding some of these things. So get yourself educated. Just some thoughts that I had, and more stuff coming this week. I promised that I was going to get a video of my Halloween / holiday tree, and that it has started having a few little hiccups, which we'll talk about, and it should be up shortly. Trying to get that one up this week. Got some arts and crafts that I talked about, so pumpkin decorating and things. We're going to do that. I've got a little squirrel that is hanging out on my porch, eyeballing my pumpkins. And I have a feeling that this little guy has nefarious intent, but we'll keep an eye on that. A little tiny one, so I may let it slide. We'll see. It's pretty cute. Just want to say hi and all that's going on. Click subscribe. Don't forget. notification bell. That way you get notified when videos go up, and you'll be the first to get in there and see what's going on. And thumbs up, click that like button for me, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by. See ya.